Hello crew! Alright, so this is a tutorial we're going to be working on today, and as you can tell, it's going to be pretty intricate. We've added several waterfalls. There's a different type of moon. You guys usually see me create a full moon with a quick burst of spray. We go back to some of the basics when creating terrain. We added some trees in the background. I think this tutorial is going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy it very much as I've enjoyed making it. Alright crew, so without further ado, I hope you guys are ready for this. Grab your cans, let's get ready to paint.
Alright, let's begin. I have an idea as to what I want. It hasn't quite solidified, and it won't solidify until you start putting some paints down, right? Some colors down. So let's begin with the sky. And you know what? I don't know if I want to do it this way. Yeah, let's do it this way. Why not? Alright. Start with the sky. So I'm just gonna add a nice layer of sky blue. Okay. Now using our dark blue, this is the dark blue that comes in the kits. We're just gonna do a nice little even transition right there. You see that? You see that nice? It goes from dark to light blue. That'll give us some depth to our painting. So we'll just add that. Something like that. Now we're gonna use our black. Now I'm just going to use the black here on the bottom. Alright. A little bit of that on the side. Yeah, why not? I'm just going to go all the way in. So far so good? Alright. Alright. Now then, let's add, you know what I'm thinking. I'm just going to take our happy dandy little sea sponge right here. That's all we need right there. I'm just going to tear off a piece. Probably about that big. And this piece, you can save it for later. I'm just going to create some random trees here in the background just to give us the effect of depth. There's some trees back here. Gonna come down, maybe, you know what, we'll make them pine trees. Look at that. Alright, let's do the same over here. Maybe this one's a little bit taller. Okay, using the grass strand technique, I'm just going to make some taller strokes here. And you know what, to switch things up a little bit. That's how I roll. I like to switch things up once in a while. We'll use a magazine sheet. We haven't done that in a while. I'm just going to create some terrain. Just gonna tap here, gonna smear down, and you know what? Now notice the difference, guys. Notice it was only about 2-3 strokes that I used here, and I already used the entire little pool that I had here. I want to create, you know what? I want to create some here, terrain coming down. So you use a little bit more paint if you do it this way. But nonetheless, it's doable. It's more than doable. So I'm going to switch back to using our tool here. It's a little less messy. It really is. Not that, you know, I don't mind getting a little bit of paint on me, guys. But I like the way things kind of smear better with it. Let me tell you a little history about this here tool. So, you know, I know that there's similar tools out there. Let me show you how the Spraycasso tool was originally born. Because when we first started spray painting, and I say we as in, you know, like the early 80s, the original spray painters out there, this art started in the early late 70s, early 80s. And we used to use razor blades. And so we used to get cut all the time. So I used to use wooden tools, and I had a little wood shop place that would make them for me. And so they'd carve it out of wood, and it had this nice little 45-degree angle at the end. And that's what we would use to kind of scratch the paint, mix paint together. As we developed into a little bit more into creating more specific tools for the art, I realized the rubber was the way to go. So I had a bunch of these made. I'm actually an engineer, guys, so I, have the classes, have the knowledge. I make tools for other companies, other places, and so I, decided to make my own. And we used a very specific type of rubber that is great for spray painting. Very easy to clean off, as you can see. But that's not to say there is tools out there, guys, that is very similar out there. And so you don't have to get the one that comes with the kit. You can definitely go out and see if you can find one. I know I've had guys that use spatulas even, imitating these techniques. Guys, the purpose of it is the way that the paint blends. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I've gotten some emails on that. And Spray, would you be mad if we... No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Use what you have. All right. So I like the way this is coming out. I think I want to create maybe a tree here that goes... Yeah, maybe. Let's see. I'm going to use a little bit of blue. Now, this is a technique I've been stressing out in the last few tutorials to create depth. You have to use the same colors that you're using, though, in the background. And I just want to give it a nice little overspray. Nothing that is going to be just washed out. This gives it, you still have the illusion that there's plant in the background, and it fades into the distance. Now a little more blue here. Good. Okay, now using the star technique, you guys remember that? That's where we aim our can, a good 45-degree angle from the painting. And just let it sputter. Now I have a can here that's very empty. Those usually tend to work the best for me. Okay, we managed to get some stars down. I didn't want to do too overpowering of such, just enough to get the glimmer of the night. It's a nice little clear night, starry night. Nice. All right. That's all I wanted. All right. So using our soft tip tool here. Let me clean this off. We're just gonna smear the water. See, I can tell that this is gonna be water, so we're just gonna blend it by liquefying it, going back and forth, and then here you can just see where it lends itself to a nice little waterfall. See that? Let's zoom in, take a look at that. So I mean, you guys can definitely see right here where the water is going to be. And the way you add water to that, well, it's very simple. We use a little bit of our sky blue, right? Same blue that we used in our sky here. Just gonna spray a little bit off on the side. So we're gonna add that to our water. And you want to just let it blend. Let it blend, don't add too much pressure. Here we go. Alright, so here where the water meets, we're just gonna smear that down. Swash! You can almost hear the water. If it helps, use sound effects. Absolutely, why not? So we have nice little water ripples here. I want to add some more here on the back. Just like that. Let it blend. Nice. Okay. All right. And add a little bit of blue here off on the side. Spraycasso, handy dandy Spraycasso tools. I use this guy for everything. It just it makes things very easy for me, and it's very easy to clean. So tap, 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 tap. We're just gonna add some minor highlights. Just gonna add some here, here. I'm just gonna blend that in. Very easy to do. Blend it in. A little bit of color there. That. Okay, just gonna create another little rock right there. Okay, we're just gonna create right there. That down. So we're just gonna keep adding minor little highlights right here, just in the background. You don't have to be too precise, you know. I mean, precise enough to where you know where some of these plants are, but let the imagination of the viewer have something to look at as well. Tap, 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 tap here. Oh, need to add a little bit more. Just like that. And so see, the background starts to take shape. Let's add some highlights facing this area. Okay, while we have the painting still wet, we went ahead and added our highlights here in the background. I'm gonna add here a little bit of our blue. Just gonna add, and you know, I was just thinking of this. Just gonna add a little bit of blue here. I'm gonna blend it with some of those colors in the background. See what I'm doing here? I'm adding another cascade, another waterfall. It is your world and you can do with it as you please. So just a little bit of blue, and that's blending with the black colors underneath with our neutral color. And using the tip, the very tip of the Spraycasso tool, I am going and I'm blending it here. Now, of course, what we're going to want to do is spray a little bit of white here on the side. You want to make sure you clean the tool. You don't want to have any paint contamination. Not that it matters a whole lot right now because we are using blue and we are using white. So I mean, those are the primary colors we need for water. So let me just add a little bit more here on the side. So I'm gonna tap into some white, just like that. Add a little bit here, and I'm just gonna let it blend with the colors underneath. Back and forth, back and forth. Just gonna add a little bit of clear coat so we can blend these a little bit better. Like that. So I have a little stream that's coming down on this side, and it goes from back here down this way. And here we go, our second waterfall. Just spread a little bit of black off on the side. Yep, you guessed it. Alright, so we're just gonna tap here. We're gonna add maybe Nice little rocky terrain right here. Maybe I'm even gonna overlap this part. Yeah. And I'm gonna do the same thing over on the other side right here. So I'm just gonna add a nice little rock. Nice. And so see, you've seen the painting change quite dramatically since we began. You let the painting paint itself. I know it sounds a little corny, but I mean it. I mean, as you proceed, you'll start to see things like, oh, maybe I can add this, maybe I can add that, maybe, you know, and as these little maybes start happening, then you start adding additional details to your painting. Clean the tool here. Let's add with one of our sea sponge. Just gonna take a small piece here, tear off a piece. I'm gonna spray some white. And I'm gonna add some details to our water. Again, nice little piece here. I'm just gonna add, I'm gonna get the effect. Some water coming down there, maybe. A little bit of clear coat. See these guys right here? I'm just gonna blend those into the background to make it look like water's coming down. Just gonna add, oh, maybe a little bit of white there. Very easy to do. All right. And now as a challenge to myself, guys, I want to create another small waterfall right about here. So I'm just gonna create the effect here of a waterfall. Yeah, look at that. It's coming out pretty good. Alright, so we're gonna have one here. Maybe, I don't know, what do you guys think? Maybe we should add one coming down here a little bit. Maybe the traces of one. Like that. I mean, eventually we're gonna add another layer, fix this up, but I think for now, I think this is the way we're gonna want to go. Just gonna spray some white. I'm gonna clean the tool. Very easy to clean. Now, if it's dry like this, you don't really have to worry too much about it. So I'm just gonna tap into some white. Come in and this would just give it that look, that water look. Maybe we can use a little bit of clear coat just to let the colors water down a little bit more, and you're able to create some pretty neat effects once you do that. So I'm just gonna blend these two pretty good here, and then we're just gonna smear this down. Okay, pretty easy, right? A nice little waterfall in several locations, so they're kind of just combining, right? So what I'm gonna do here, and I think this would be a good spot to do it, maybe we can add another layer. And maybe that could be a terrain layer overlapping a little bit of this waterfall here. We also need to go through and add, using our sea sponge, and maybe that's what we can do now. Just a piece of sea sponge, some black, just like this. Just gonna choose a side. I'm gonna try the side that I already have some black on. Let's see what that looks like. That's not bad. That's not bad, because what I want to do is I want to create some grass strands. Look at that. That's the pattern it gives me. So we're gonna go through here. I'm just gonna add some right here. You guys know, whenever I do my water, I like to overlap it with some grass. Okay, so I'm just gonna... So here on this bottom part, obviously I didn't have enough space. I guess I could, I still could go ahead and just add a little bit of water here just to give you the feel that the water is right here. But I think what I want to do, and I gotta be careful with this, I don't want to get a whole lot of overspray over here, is create the effect that there is, you know, a little bit of that splash. So I gotta be careful how I do this. Gotta get close enough to the painting. Just like that. That way we don't leave the waterfall just hanging. It gives you the effect here, once I move this down, that you can see a little bit of that splash where the water would be. So it still gives the viewer the effect. They can see some of that splash, some of that water crashing down. Alright, let's add some of the terrain that we said we were going to add over here. So, using our handy dandy black, I'm going to spray a little bit off on the side, right here. I'm going to use our soft tip tool, and we're going to clean it up. Although there's no paint on there, it's just good practice to make sure you clean it up. Like I said, the dry paint, you guys don't even have to worry about that. It's not coming down. Now, if you really want to, you use your nail and, you know, take that off, but it's not really going to affect it much. Besides, we're going to be using black. It's our neutral color. We're going to come in and we're just going to tap right about here, start adding some terrain, some rocks. Just like that. Maybe I'll even add one overlapping right about here. Tap, tap, tap. Something like this. Okay. Something like that. Perhaps we have some strands here. Okay, and that's okay. See, that looks nice. Gives it a nice little effect, like you're standing here. There's some grass strands overlapping. That's, maybe we can add some single ones here. Now then, I'm gonna spray a little bit of white, and I want to show you guys this little tool. So this guy right here is a soft tip tool. It looks just, well, it doesn't look just like my other tools, but you see the end has this nice little rubber tip right here, and there we go. This little rubber tip right here should imitate a brush for the most part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some white, I'm going to dip this into some white, and I'm going to create our moon back here. Now normally, you guys know me, normally to create a moon, I would go in and just do a quick spray and create a moon that way. But I'm going to try this because I want to create a nice, you know, half moon or a crescent moon. So let's give that a try. Let's give this a try. So I went ahead and there it is. There's some paint on this, and that might be actually a little too much. So I'm gonna put some down, maybe just like that. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna create my nice little maybe like that. Just create the outline for now. And then I'll go over it. Something like that. What do you guys think? It gives me a nice little outline to follow. So let's color that in. Okay, now remember what happened last time? When they're this bright, we're just gonna add a little bit of coat, clear coat. And we're gonna smear it downwards. So we're just gonna blend the two colors together. There we go. We're gonna do the same down here. Tap, tap, and smear. Look at that. So now we have some pretty close to rain. We're gonna tap onto some more blue. Alright, just like that. We're just gonna add a nice little highlight right about here. A little bit of clear coat. Okay. Same for up here. Nice. So now what I want to do is I want to add some more of this plant life throughout here. You guys remember how we did that, right? A little bit of black off on the side. Piece of sea sponge. Don't drop it on your painting, but it's a piece of sea sponge. We're just going to tear off a piece. When the sponge becomes too used, just go ahead and throw it. There's others out there. As you can see, I have a little bowl here right next to me with a bunch of pieces of sea sponge that I go through. So, toss this one. I'm going to keep this one. Tear off a piece of it. Oh, little flowers right here. Just like that. We're going to add some right here. And that right there, guys, concludes our spray painting. I'm really happy with it. I hope you guys had a good time hanging out with us and just painting. I know I always enjoy this because it takes me to a different world. Change the scenery, you know. I've always enjoyed it. Anyways, thank you guys for rattling with us. And as always, keep those cans shaking. Till next time, crew. Thank you.